I want you to tell me the story about the cold tweeting your way to working with Tim Ferriss, because I did something very similar. My Instagram
Uh,
account had the biggest growth ever because Tim Ferriss reposted two of my posts,
Amazing.
and that made it grow like crazy. So I wanted to hear
That's so cool.
your story on how to do it on Twitter.
Totally. Yeah. So this was when I quit my job back in 2014. I uh, wanted to create a business or work in the podcast space because I loved podcasting. And I'd been listening to Tim's show for a long time, and really respected him and thought to myself, how could I possibly work with Tim? And I had read a few folks who were able to figure out a way to work with Tim and things like that. And I kind of studied it. And what I realized is he's got thousands of people pitching him all the time. I can do stuff for free for you. I can do this. I can do that. And I'm not going to stand out at all if I do that. So, and I likely won't get a response if I email him. So I thought the best way to do it would be to tweet him, and not a DM, but a public tweet, but just to him with the work I had already done for him as a link. And so what I did, my insight for him was his episodes were like 3 hours long, and I would listen to them while I was traveling because I traveled a lot. And I was driving, I wasn't able to take notes. I wasn't able to really like reference the stuff. And there was so much stuff packed in each episode. And I thought, what if you repurpose that into really curated um, written content, either blog posts or ebooks or something like that. And so what I did is I took his Kevin Kelly episode, where he interviewed Kevin Kelly, and it was about 3 hours. And I went through and I basically created an incredibly curated, thoughtfully crafted blog post from it of all the insights, all the lessons, all the references from that. And I put it on a URL. And then I tweeted Tim and I said, "Hey Tim, I did this. I think your listeners would love it. Let me know what you think." And he saw it, clicked the link, went through it, and replied, and then DM'd me and was like, "This is amazing. Let's talk." And we ended up working together. I did that for a bunch of his other episodes. And ultimately what him and his team decided to do was um, create the book Tools of Titans. If you remember that book, which was essentially repurposed material. Yeah, it might be. It's probably on your shelf somewhere. Yeah, exactly. So that book is basically reference material from his podcast episodes. And so I'm not saying I created that idea for him at all. But some of the research material I created from his episodes, I think he was able to reference and use for the creation of that book. And so I worked on projects basically that repurposed those episodes into written content, and then he used and manipulated to the perfect degree, like how it would fit in with his book. So that was my way of, again, giving. And it always comes back to trying to give before you ask, and being willing to do things that others aren't. That project took me about 15 to 20 hours to do. And I did that and sent it to him, not knowing if he'd even see it or what would happen, but knowing it would give myself the best chance possible if he did see it.